how does a job site flow with you guys, right? So you're running a crew, you got a project. Kevin, I guess the bids come in, or estimates start with you, and then you sub out Tommy. How does this work?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically we're Tommy's help. He helps me run. What is there, 8 crews, and so he helps me manage those 8 crews, and then also he runs an actual crew, and then he's on basically the high ends, all the technical high end work. And that's
let's say it all depends. Is it my actual job that we're talking about, or is it the one that I'm helping with?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I don't see Kevin for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Sometimes into those jobs, or if I ever see him at all, he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, he's got it. Just do your thing."
Well, that's what I mean. It truly is. That for me, it's like like whenever you were telling me, hey, I just kind of threw the wolves, and it was like, hey, it's a compliment. For me, it's a compliment if you don't see me a whole lot. Is that because I have full trust that you've got it under control?
Well, one thing me and Kevin have is that I can literally call him and say, "Hey, this, and that. What do you think?" Yeah, let's do it this way, and we both know exactly what we're talking about, right?
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like
we're on the same page when we're talking about something like that. So it's not like he has to drive all the way to Zephyr to go look at the problem. I can explain it to him, and he gets it. Oh, yeah, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
or even at the worst case, we FaceTime.
Yeah,
That is like the technology now. I FaceTime with Nacho the other day. That was the first time, and I was like, turn the cam. I was like, so we were trying to figure out how to fake, because I was trying to the SkyTrack broke down, so we were trying to figure out to make sure that anyway. I was trying to help problem solve.
not ours, the rental.
Yeah, the rental. Yeah, the rental.
Don't mess with Tommy's SkyTrack.
Or any of us. Yeah, it's like but
I try to make this some.
do you like the timber stuff, or like those top high end houses, or like when we did those apartments here in town? Or do you like having a big apartment commercial site, or you like both? You're like, hey, I like to mix it up.
No, I mean, I like the commercial size. That was fun. I mean, just having, what was there, 6 crews at some points there, running.
Probably about 30 guys.
Yeah, running and gunning nonstop on that stuff. That was fun.
How many thousand square feet were those?
That one was only, what, 80,000 feet?
It was like 90, something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
85, 90.
Where was that?
Behind Big Lots.
Oh, yeah.
It's those, 8 buildings,
Yeah.
3 stories tall.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So that's a lot different energy than going to some big mansion with a bunch of beams that you're there for.
Yeah,
months.
the tolerance is a lot looser on those things.
Yeah, it's more production.
Yeah.
And
Painters will fix it.
Well, not really. You don't, let's say, go that far into it. Like, you don't want to, it's a 3-story building, so you don't want to be that loose on things, but it's still like.
it's rough carpentry.
Yeah, it's not finish timber work, right? That needs to be all tight and clean. Like, I could spend, how long were we at the apartments? 3 months, 2 months?
I think you were there for about 4 months, I think, during the full heavy.
Yeah, well, plus we lost, what, week and a half for that ice
Yeah.
below freezing week.
It was about 4 months, but yeah.
But you could do that, and I've been at a big job for at least that long before, big custom job.
Yeah, I think you did, like we did one in Eastland for 6 months. Wasn't that one for the McClure's
the one
was 6 months?
Yeah.
Just west of Desdemona with the timber over the hill. It's like, you come in, it's flat, and then the house, it's 1 story in the front, and then you get into it, and it drops down, or 2-story overlooking the hills. No,
I don't remember which one.
it's a lot of timber.
I don't know what the one in Desdemona.
I
I
don't
mean,
remember.
Kevin's house. How long were we at your house when we did all that timber there?
I don't know.
Because I didn't do much actual framing on your house. It was all timber work mostly,
What was it, 2 months?
something like that. I mean,
Yeah,
but
maybe
that was all old stuff too. So that adds a lot of.
And I
time.
kept pulling you off though on that too. I kept like,
Oh yeah, 'cause it was your house. You could
yeah, we
pull
kept
stuff
like
on.
pulling and going.
Owner don't get mad that way.
So how big is your crew? How
Right
many
now
guys?
it's me and 2 guys.
Is it Junior and Christian?
No, it's Mike and Christian.
Okay. And when you're doing timber work, I guess, do you even have capacity to have a lot of guys if there's a custom timber job? Because there's not much work to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of notching. So there's a lot of chisel work involved, right? So you got to have guys there to help. I guess necessarily for the weight,
Right.
is the main reason why you got to have guys there. Which SkyTrack helps a lot, but you still got to be able to control it, right? So most of the time when we're doing a lot of like time-consuming tenons or mortises, it's more standing around.
What's that term? Tenons and mortise. What is that vocabulary?
Mortise is a hole that accepts the tenon inside the timber.
Okay, and all of that is hand done.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've had chain mortise for now. We used to do it with hole saws and chisels, but I got a nice chain mortise for now, so that sped up production a little bit.
That's cool. Is that? I mean, just basically a small chainsaw.
It's about a 1 inch wide chainsaw that can go. I think it tries about 6 inches deep.
Is it like is the one that's so it mounts on top and it just slide?
Yeah,
so it
like
stays keeps it true and square all the way down.
Yeah, it's like a chainsaw and a drill press put together.
That's cool. That's way cool.
Yeah, but like the chain is 1 inch wide, so it's not like a little 3/8 chain. It's literally eating material out of there.
Okay, so with this kind of timber, and let's say the scissor trusses at the house in Morgan Mill, are there any screws, glue? Or is it just mortise and tenon together?
It's more of a hybrid, I think. At Kevin's house, there's a lot of tenon, mortise and tenon stuff, but a lot of that's structurally screwed together. Did we do any pegs on your house? I don't think we did.
I don't think we did any pegs.
I think everything on Kevin's house was all timber locked into place, or
they were concealed,
right?
But
like all his rafters above, all those are screwed top down from the bird's mouth. Pretty much every beam is tied into your post. I think I might have done your front porch as more like an actual tenon top to it.
Yeah, because I think there is a couple of pegs out there, but
I don't think they're pegged. I think I tenon them to keep them from twisting because they were so bad.
Oh yeah. You're right.
That's another thing too. It helps keep the twists and stuff. You kind of lock that post in place, right? It can't go anywhere when you use that method. Like it's stuck. Like it's going to be there in that position.
If it tries to twist, it just tightens into the hole. Yeah.
It seems to I don't know. It really does work as far as locking it all in for long term. Like because that one we're doing right now in Zephyr, that's true mortise tenon with oak pegs.
That's more of a traditional timber frame.
With the oak pegs, you just use big drill bit, put it in, and then pop a dowel in.
Yeah, just a 1 inch piece of oak.
That's so cool.
And then there's no screw.
You get all your strength from your lumber, right? So depending on if your tenon's in compression or tension, tells you where to drill your hole, how long to make it, how wide it needs to be. There's just a lot of factors that go into it, right? Like the compression and tension loads are big factors when you're doing timber because you gotta know which one is which. Because if you mess it up and you put a compression tenon on a tension load, it'll rip itself right out of that peg.
Right.
So you got to make sure you know which one is which.
You guys have any stories on that?
No.
No, that's not the story.
I don't have any stories on that.
Doc, we're doing good.
We're batting 1,000. Structure's still standing.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but the one in Zephyr's probably the biggest one I've ever done, I think, as far as timber frame.
Full
on mortise and tenon.
Yes.
Like full build.
Because everything else has been we've been kind of progressing down this path. We kind of got into it a little bit, and then and then been learning and just progressing down this path of it was just kind of screwing it all together and bolting it together. Then you started mortising things together.
Well, I started off on the fact I didn't like the corners because everybody used to 45 those things together, and they never looked good.
Yes, it wasn't a good system, and then when it shrank,
you never had anything holding anything square. And then
explain what part of the house are we talking about? Like, were you talking 2 45s?
That front porch, like if you're making a 90 corner on a porch, right, and the beam, there's usually a post below, but you could look up in the corner and you can see straight through the 45. And I hated that.
Yeah, and it looks
from the beginning
bad.
like I don't want to do this because you didn't matter how many times you adjusted your saw, one little bump in it and there's a hole all the way through the thing.
Yes.
So I don't remember one day I was like, I'm just going to do something different. So I just did these step notches in the end of this thing and I just slapped it together and then put 2 screws on the outside and it was tight. The building didn't move half as much. I was like, hey, we need to do this more often, Kevin. Come look.
We switched it of course, getting everybody to switch to it, getting the guys.
But the guys weren't too enthused about it.
But it looked, now that everybody's everybody switched it. It is so much better.
Oh yeah, everybody. As soon as they did it one time, they were like, "Oh, this is."
There's
way better.
more grace because the way you can notch it is that you're shoving it tight instead of trying to make everything just so clean. And there was more grace to it too, so it was actually better.
You got more surface area that's actually touching each other because you're going in and out and in and out,
Right,
not just one straight cut all the way
It's a
through.
lot. They're gears that lock together.
Because and then when you 45 and 2, like even when you put a screw in it, try to tie it together, the thing would move all of a sudden, and you have to take the screw back out again.
Not be square. And,
yeah, it was just a disaster.
This way, what we're doing now is so much better.
So
the whole pass started because of a 45 cut on a beam.
It did, and then now we're like, and we've progressed. I think we're like this is like you said this. We've progressed the furthest on this.
do you think you've built your own market together? Like before, you're just 45 and it like you don't have your own, even the confidence to say we can try something, and so then your consumers are not even aware that more is available. And so, do you feel that there's more timber work now because you've done more, and then the more that comes, just customers are pushing your limits, and then you're pushing your own limits, like? How's it working?
Growth, I think, right there.
I would say, yeah, I think it's both. I think it's right now the architects are putting it in the plans that are being presented, but then also too, I do think because we show them stuff, we'll show owners, owners or GCs will say, hey, this is what we're looking for, and Tommy will whip out his phone, like this is what we've done, or myself as well, and then it's boom, all of a sudden. Now all of a sudden we're instead of just doing a beam, we're doing full trusses, and so I think it's a combination of both.
Is it, you think? I mean, it's good for business. You're presenting a new service to the market.
I think it's we're able to be the more specialized reputation of.
I mean, like the Zephyr job now. I mean, Texas Timber Framers is an awesome company. They CNC'd all their stuff together, right? And this homeowner knew about that, but he wanted the fact of the story to be able to tell, like, nope, my timber framer sat right there, and he made every bit of that piece, every piece of that he made. He wanted that to be the story.
It was
for
narrative,
that house, right? Like, he made every piece right there in front of my driveway.
That's cool.
Right? He's like, I know about Texas Timber Framers, but I didn't want, like, that's just made in a shop, right? I wanted you to be making them right here.
That's cool.
So that's what you're getting into that.
Are there many peers that K&H competes with of the same, like in this area, that can compete with timber?
I mean, I'm sure there's people that do timber, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know of any offhand that I could say. We're not necessarily bidding against them for just straight timber jobs either, right?
Yeah, like when we're bidding, when we're doing these high end jobs, I would say we're not. If the GC gets it, we're doing it. There's not other framers bidding it.
Yeah, I mean, the only time that maybe that was a factor was in that Clifton house because the guy that made the timber was going to install it, and then the GC told him that we would do it because we know how.
So you get into, but I'd say 80% of the time we're not even. You're the guys. We're the guy in this area. Obviously, there's like Tommy was saying, there's guys that do it, but in our area.